Welcome everybody in Dakota's Cove. We got a new format for how we're going to be doing our reviews for movies and TV shows. It's been a while, but hey, the Cove is still open. So today we're going to go ahead and talk about one of the new films that came out called Sinner, starring Michael B. Jordan, Hailee Steinfeld are two of the biggest names in the movie. This was directed by Ryan Coogler. Familiar with him, he's done some of the Creed movies, Black Panther, and he's worked with Michael B. Jordan before. First off, I just got to say, this is one of the most creative films I have watched in a while. Ryan Coogler does such a cool job of integrating music as like one of the main plot points in this movie, and he weaves music throughout pretty much every scene. There's not a scene going on that doesn't have some type of like Delta blues music. So the plot of this movie, if you watch some of the teasers on TV, you basically have no idea what this movie's about, which I liked. Apparently, though, they released a final trailer that kind of revealed all the plot lines. And this, folks, is why I don't watch trailers anymore, because I like going into the movie surprised. But basically, Michael B. Jordan, he plays a set of twins, Smoke and Stack, the Smokestack twins. And they have left Mississippi. They used to work on a plantation. This is a period piece kind of done in the early 1930s where there's still segregation, Jim Crow laws, and a lot of African Americans that are working in plantation picking cotton. These two twins left. They headed for Chicago. They got in with the mob. They have supposedly worked with the Capone crime mafia. And they end up stealing some, or they screw two different families within mobs. Like they steal Irish beer and whatnot. There's still a lot of prohibition going on. They basically bring it back to Mississippi and they want to open up their own juke joint. They get the help of their cousin, who, by the way, in this movie does a phenomenal job singing, playing the guitar. It almost looks like it's actually him playing the dobro when he's playing the blues. Just so well done. I love blues and jazz music, and if you like that style of music, this movie really immerses you into the culture of the blues, how it all started, how it became popular. Just very well done. So, enlisting the help of their cousin to play guitar at their juke joint so they can make money, they also go on and find another blues player. Can't remember his name. He plays the harmonica. He ends up playing the piano in this, and he's been around for a long time. Now, the build-up for this movie actually takes quite a while. It is a slow build-up to get into the main action and plot points of the movie, and it's not a bad thing, actually. You're very immersed in everything. Everybody here feels like they're related some form or fashion. Everybody gets along. It's like you're going to hang out with some buddies you've missed for a long time. Really well done. It's about 40-50 minutes into the movie before we start actually getting into what the crux of the movie is about. Now, the main plot is throughout centuries and ages, there's always been somebody who is talented enough and has a musical gift where they're able to bridge in between worlds, like past and present. Like they're able to get into like a different dimension. They can play music and bring up like their ancestors or ancestry and bring up their ancestors in and evoke everything that's going on in the past into music. Now they can also likewise do it in the future. So that was very cool. I thought that plot point was cool. But along with having this musical gift, there is a darkness that comes with it, and that is attracting demons or vampires in this case. So this movie is supposed to be a horror movie. It really doesn't feel like a horror movie. There are a few horror elements in there, but most of it is more of a thriller. As we get into our juke joint, the party starts kicking off. They play more fantastic music throughout the movie. Michael B. Jordan playing the twins, Smokestack. They do a good job of running the place, making sure everybody's doing really well. They give some backstory onto some stuff that's happened. And this is where Hailee Steinfeld really, really comes into her own. I have not been very familiar with a lot of Hailee Steinfeld movies. I've only really seen her in the Hawkeye show. But man, she kind of stole the show in this movie for me, if you ask me. She did a great job. And once she ends up becoming like a vampire and the way she does it and the way she's able to infiltrate the juke joint, very well done. She does a terrific job with her lines. The way the vampires look in this movie, I thought it was very well done. I like the way their eyes glow, and that's like they're able to make themselves look like normal humans, but then you can kind of tell when they're in their vampire state by the way their eyes glows, their fang comes out. If they're talking to a person, they kind of start drooling. That was really cool. Overall, movie was very well done. I had a lot of fun. Like I said, it's one of the most creative films I had seen in a while. This is definitely worth going to see in theaters. I do have a few slight complaints though. One of them is being when they evoke the music and they try showing that one of our main characters who plays the guitar is the one that's gifted with the musical talent, and the way they bridge between the dimensions. This scene, they are in the middle of him singing a song they said he wrote for his dad, who's a preacher. Preacher Boy's his name in this, by the way. They were trying to show how they're able to bridge in between the past and the future. And while he's playing this song, it's like a mashup, and you get all these different cultures coming in, playing their style music, singing along, dancing while he's playing his blues song. And it was cool when they were bringing up like the ancestors and everything like that. I thought that was really cool. It was a cool way to like honor the past. It kind of shows like how blues music came to be where it is now in that point in time. But what threw me out was we have like this person that guessing supposed to be Jimi Hendrix, and he's playing the electric guitar beside him while this guy's playing a dobro. And they start showing like DJs and how music is going to change down the road into what we know it as now, where you got DJs, MCs on mics. And I'll be honest, the future stuff when they showed all that, that kind of took me out of the scene. I think it would have looked better if they just kept it to the past only, you know, reconnecting with your ancestors and your lineage and all that. But they decided to go one step further, go into the future as well. And that kind of threw me out of the scene for a little bit. The music, don't get me wrong, sounded very good the way they mashed up the different genres and all that. But it's just kind of, for me personally, it was a little too much at that time. You will kind of get confused if you're not like paying attention, and you'll be like, what is going on? The other small gripe I have is the action scenes in this movie, they were good. I enjoyed them. They do practical effects along with some CGI, and there's some bloody scenes in here, you know, because vampires, whatever. And they do a good job. I just felt like they could have done a little bit more in these scenes. The action scenes aren't very long in here. It's more like a detective style thriller where Stack's ex girlfriend at the time, or his baby mama, or ex wife, or whatever she was at the time, is like into looking into different spirits and whatnot. She's actually the one that figures out that these are vampires, and I believe, and first off, they were calling them hates or something like that. She figures it out. She throws garlic on one of them. Cornbread, who's one of my favorite characters in the movie, he was the bouncer at the door. He tries coming in, and the whole like question scene with him, like, why are you asking to come when you've been in here all day, was very well done. It was pretty cool, but with the action, but it's just a little lackluster. You would think the action would be a little bit longer. Like the main climax goes through very rapid fire, it felt like. Other than that, it was a really fun movie. There are two after credit scenes, are both very good. The really cool after credit scene though is Preacher Boy. It goes down the line into the future. He ended up leaving the plantation. He ended up playing blues at multiple clubs, becoming very famous playing the blues. Does a really good job. However, Smoke and Hailee Steinfeld cannot, I think her name was Mary in the movie. They end up coming to see him. They ended up living, because in the movie it does say if you kill the one that created the vampires, you know, like Lucifer, they can still live. Well, these two still end up living. Preacher Boy doesn't understand because he thought Stack killed Smoke. Wasn't the case, but Stack did ask Smoke to leave Preacher Boy alone, and they've kept up that bargain. They come in to see him, ends up telling him, "Oh, you can tell you don't have a lot of life left." They were trying to make him join the vampires, and he didn't want to. And it's just a very cool scene because they're like, "We don't like all this electric stuff. You got any of the real in you?" And he ends up bringing out the old dobro that was their father's. At the beginning of the movie, it shows that it was broken. He ends up getting it fixed. It looks good. He ends up playing old classic style Delta blues. Very cool ending to it. Overall, I'm gonna give this movie, I think, an 8 out of 10. Definitely worth going to see in theaters, just because the way the theater is set up with the surround sound and the way the music plays and reverberates off the theater walls and everything. It's really cool. It's very immersive. This is a creative film. If you're worried because it's a horror film, you don't like can't handle horror, kind of like how I am, I gotta say, you don't have to worry about that. There's not much horror to this. There's maybe one or two jump scares. That's it. The rest of it's more thriller, but very well done. Ryan Coogler did a very good job on this movie. Very cool movie. I'm glad I went and saw it. And like I said, I'm going to give Sinners an 8 out of 10. If you enjoyed this content, leave a like, leave a follow, come join the Cove, everybody, because the water's fine. Just a heads up, we do have another video coming out. I will be giving a series review for Daredevil, and I'm going to have a special guest in that one. So I can't wait for you all to tune in to watch that one. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.